Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
Hey guys, welcome back to Small Talk, small conversations with huge impact. My name is Alec Cuenca and I'm your host. And if this is your first time listening to the podcast, then welcome to the show. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you learned something from this episode, then go ahead and check out the other amazing episodes because they have a lot of insights that can help you with your life. And if you are an avid listener of the podcast, then welcome back. I am very excited that you're here again. I hope you had an amazing week before you. Have you listened to the other episodes? Because if you haven't, then go check them out. What are you waiting for? These episodes that I've been creating have ultimately helped me in my life, and I know that it can help you as well. So with that, let's start with our episode for today. And today's episode is all going to be about the first step to self-improvement. Now, I hosted my room for the very first time in Clubhouse. And I have been joined with some of my friends, some of my online friends. And basically, Clubhouse is like podcasting, but in real time. A lot of people can join in the conversation, ask questions, share their thoughts. And it's only in audio form. It's podcasting, but in real time. So I will go on... I will basically creating a room or an event every Monday. So if you want to check that out, then... just send me a message, or if you're already on Clubhouse, just find me and add me there. Follow me there, Alec Cuenca, and I'll follow you back so you could be updated for every event that I'll be hosting. So in that event, we talked about the first step to self-improvement. Now, coming into that event, I was thinking, if someone asked me, Kuya Alec, I want to get better. I want to improve myself. Where do I start? I was thinking about mindset. Right? And so I asked the people there, and one of my good friend, Mish, from the podcast Mish Conceptions, said that it's very important to have goals. I said, good point. It's hard for us to actually get to where we want to be if we don't know what that place looks like, if we don't know where we actually want to go, right? So having goals, having that clarity gives us or provides us with a roadmap to where we want to be. It's hard to get better if we don't know what better looks like, right? And so another guy coincided. He said, yeah, I also do that. I write my goals if I want to get better, and I try visualization. I said, good point. That's good. And then I said, coming into this conversation, I was thinking that mindset is the first step to self-improvement. Because you may be hardworking, you may have all the tools for self-improvement, you may have all the books, you may have all the mentors, but if you don't have the mindset, which is basically a growth mindset, which allows you to open your eyes and see that you have a lot of things to learn, those tools will be wasted. And so I really believe that mindset is the first step to self-improvement. And so we've gone back and forth with the conversation. And then there was this one guy, Mark, he said, another thing that we need to point out is, well, self-improvement is not easy. It's not cute. It's freaking hard. So I think that the first step to self-improvement is actually not giving a fuck about what other people think. And I said, that's good. That's a good point. I mean, before we actually start improving ourselves, if we always listen to what other people say, then we will always be living and dying by their opinions. And that's hard. And looking back, I said I was doing the same thing. I learned first how to not give a fuck about what other people think before I started improving myself. Because even though I am improving myself, there will be a lot of haters, a lot of naysayers, a lot of naggers. And if you don't know how to mute the noise, how to filter those unnecessary noise, it's going to be hard for you. And he made another good point. Hey guys, before we head on to the rest of the episode, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering how we collab with brands here in Small Talk. And with that, we use Podmetrics. If you have a podcast, sign up now at podmetrics.co and use the code SMALLTALK, one word, all caps, and in that little way, you can help support the show as well. Oh, and if ever you're an advertiser who wants to collab with Small Talk, head on over to advertiser.podmetrics.co and fill up the form. Again, that's Podmetrics, the easiest way to monetize your podcast. So we've gone back and forth with these discussions, but there was this one guy who made or changed my perception. He said, I'm going to share my story. And after that, he said, my first step to improving myself was actually forgiveness. And I was like, what? Forgiveness? Forgiving others for what they did to you? Forgiving others for the circumstances that they put you in? And forgiving yourself for all the mistakes that you've done, for all the flaws and imperfections that you have right now. And that hit me. Because most of the time we exist and we go back and we try to live our every day looking back at the mistakes that we've done in the past. And so a part of us aren't really forgiving ourselves. And we cling on to the past, we cling on to the older version of ourselves, and we think that once we make a mistake, that defines us. And so we are generally not able to move forward with our lives or try to make ourselves better because we're too stuck in the past. We're holding on to our older versions of ourselves. And so the first step of improving yourself is not actually mindset. It's not actually not giving a fuck. It's about forgiving yourself for the things that you have done. Because if you don't, you will always bring that hatred inside of you every step of the way. And you might be successful. You might be the richest. You might be the most talented person on earth. But if you don't forgive yourself, you will always have that burden inside of you. I reflected back and I thought, nah, that is right. Some of you may know I grew up having a father with many addictions. He was addicted to gambling. First and foremost, he was addicted to some drugs. But he was very addicted to gambling. And he even made to a point that he would leave us and gamble away all our food money. He would go away for a few days and come back and get our food money and gamble it away. And so I learned to hate him, to hate my own father for the things that he put us in, for the pain, for the struggles that he put us in. I could remember one friend of mine asked me right now, aren't you mad or aren't you at least angry for what your father did to you? And I thought and said, hey, no, I'm not. Because if I hate him for the bad things he had done, I couldn't thank him for giving me the opportunity to look at this world on a different perspective. I can't thank him for the opportunities to be strong, for the chance to be brave. And so forgiveness was actually the first thing that I applied in my life. I stopped being the victim of other people's actions, reactions, emotions, and life circumstances. I said to myself that the things that have happened is fixed. What it could mean to my life, that depends on me. So I dropped the victim mentality and I forgave him, even though he didn't ask for forgiveness. I forgave him and said, instead of anger, I thanked him for putting me all through the hardship. Because only then that I learned that I could become so strong, so brave, and so powerful. And my friends, we all have hatred in our lives, one way or another. We hate someone. We hate our parents. for the circumstances that we put us in. We hate our friends for not being there. We hate our exes because they hurt us, because they cheated on us. But when will you stop playing the victim? When will you stop giving them the power to control your life? I want you right now, if you want to get better, you need to forgive. You need to forgive yourself for not knowing as much as you know right now. You need to forgive others for what they've done and thank them. Not because they did you wrong, but because they were an instrument for you to learn more about yourself, for you to gain the strength that you will bring for the rest of your life. Forgiveness, my friends, this is a very powerful tool. And so that's what I have for you for this episode. This is going to be a short episode, and I'm trying to make the the episodes shorter because I want to create more and more episodes for you guys. So I will end this episode right now. By the way, I'll be having a free podcast class where I will teach you how to create your own podcast on April 12th. And I will be having a 2-day masterclass. I will be creating a podcast academy, and I will be having the first batch on April 15 and 16. Wait lang. Let me double check on that one. Yeah, that's the first batch of the Vlogging Academy will be on April 16 and 17, where I will teach you how I created my podcast from scratch and how I grew my brand with no experience, with no connections, and with no knowledge of any sort. I will teach you all the things that I have done for you to make a podcast like this one. So if you're interested in that, send me a message, and I hope that I hope to see you on the Podcast Academy. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope that you learned something from this episode. If you like this episode, please go ahead and tag me. Share this on your Instagram and tag me at Small Talk Podcast and at Alec Cuenca. And write a review, write your insights. I love reading them. It shows that you really learned from this episode, and it shows that you are really connected to the things that I've been saying. So, again, thank you so much. My name is Alec Cuenca. This is Small Talk, Small Conversations with Huge Impact, and I will talk to you guys next episode. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.